Arcane Season 2, final 3 episodes. Let's talk about it. I think it's one of the greatest animated works ever done. Absolutely. Filmmaking was top notch. The shot selection, the color grading, everything about it. I want to talk about it in great detail, starting with my favorite scenes, and then talk about just some of the overall concepts that I really enjoyed. This is a monumental work. I absolutely love it. If you want to hear my thoughts on the rest of the series, you can go back and watch my other covering of all of the episodes of Arcane. But let's get into it. I mean, talking about the final sequence, there is going to be spoilers in this, just to let you know. So make sure you finished Arcane if you want to hear my thoughts. I think it's just a magnificent work, and really what one might call the
final evolution.
Talk about the finale scenes. There's just so much to touch on. The finale sort of jinx pattern symbolism is really a mirror image. It's a mirror image the first time that Powder actually sort of kills her father, kills Vander in the original season. Of course, her tools are kind of viewed from therein as a jinx, as destructive, as only a negative force when she destroys her father by mistake, and seemingly after that ruins her and his sister's lives, and of course her father's and a lot of other people's. Then goes on to do a lot of bad in her life. And at the end here, it's kind of like I said with Isha in the last episode. It's a celebratory choice to say, I'm going to use my power, my tools for good, my engineering skills for good. I'm going to make a choice to save my sister out of love, and once again kill her father in this sense, even though it's just a hollow shell of her father. The metaphor is still there. I thought it was such a cool sort of reverse image of that, and really, really meaningful. And of course, the conversation is Jinx truly gone? That final couple frames of the show says the end in Jinx's classic kind of insane handwriting drawing on the lens of the camera. Very, very interesting. Food for thought. We'll talk more about that. But it's just such a beautiful scene, and really showcasing again the themes of the show being kind of sisterhood, family, and making choices for your family, kind of echoing throughout the entire season, both seasons, in a really beautiful way. And of course, this final shot really stood out to me of Powder in the alternate universe. Of course, when Echo has to leave, when they share a kiss, which was their first kiss to him, but not for her. What an interesting idea. He leaves, and then she's alone in the frame. She's on, of course, the left side of the frame. Really nice composition with the city. And then at the end, when Powder is, of course, lost to them and has sacrificed herself, we have Echo alone in his real universe on the right side of the frame with that emptiness in the frame to kind of echo the loneliness that he's feeling. And what a tough spot to be in for him. But in a way, he did save Powder and allow her to save her sister by extension. So it really was really meaningful. It just shows you the sort of attention to detail with the composition and the storyboarding of these shots, and the meaning hammered home by that, even subconsciously, is really, really powerful. Even if you didn't catch that exactly, that's just a sort of good example. And then let's talk about, of course,
I just loved the friendship moment between Victor and Jace at the end of the last episode.
At the beginning of Arcane, Jace and Victor have this incredible kind of bond as they grow with their friendship and their kind of the joys of discovering the science of hex tech. And there's this awesome shot where they're kind of like floating around the lab, and it's almost like a Peter Pan type feeling, like discovering this magical power for the first time and the possibilities that it can bring to the world. And they're kind of floating, and it's really joyful and it's bright and beautiful. And then at the end of it, they go through so much. And Jace, kind of crashes out and shoots Victor in his like new civilization, and then he allies with the enemy and tries to kind of cosmically rule in this really, really scary way with kind of hex tech and everything controlling him. And at the end of it, of course, they come back together, and that friendship is always there. There's a beautiful shot, the final shot of Jace and Victor. It shows their bond, their friendship, just the strength of their relationship as they kind of float together again. This time. Not the joys of science, but the kind of joys of realizing we need to stop this. It's that same idea of, our greatest ambition brought about our greatest evil. And they decide to come together in kind of a mutual bond, a mutual choice to end it here. Let's stop this. We started it. We're going to end it together. And there's such a beautiful shot, such a beautiful scene. And they are effectively, wiped out from the scene in that same kind of, fateful shot of Jace's hammer just atop this, the entire civilization, like a monument to their work, and a monument to their lives, but also a warning of never to go down this path. And it's just what a powerful image too, and what a beautiful thing. Even when Victor comes into the hex gate at the end, and they're kind of at odds with Jace, and he says to him, Jace, even though the circumstances are poor, it's really nice to see you. They still have this friendship, even though they're kind of like diametrically opposed to each other. And I love how that even though Victor is like really barely still there as far as his consciousness, he still has that love for Jason. It's really beautiful. And then of course Echo comes in with this glorious victory and saves the day in such a cool way with this kind of like go back 3 seconds trick, and he ends up pushing it beyond what he should have to be able to achieve it. And I love how Victor was like, kind of all-seeing Victor couldn't have seen this because it cannot exist. It should not exist. This technology that was made in a different place, a different universe, if you will. I thought that was so fun. And it was really cool too. If anyone's played Final Fantasy 16, the same actor, I think his name is Harry Lloyd, fantastic voice of Victor. He is also the villain in Final Fantasy 16. Very similar character, the character's Ultima. Very similar character, very similar lines to Victor at the end, which I thought was so fun. I thought it was such a cool kind of like crossover in an interesting way with the actor. So anyways, if anyone's played it, let me know. But let's talk about the final battle. I want to talk about color. I want to talk about just incredible storyboarding and just the highest level of filmmaking. I mean, just if we talk about the variety of this battle, like this is how you do a war scene. This is how you do battle. It starts in the heat of it, which I thought was so cool. It starts with this kind of back and forth crosscut of Vi carrying a wounded soldier. And it's like, no, the battle's already been going on. We're in this fight. It just drops you right into it very, very quickly. So we skip the whole kind of like tension of waiting for the enemy to get closer, kind of like classic Helm's Deep battle in Lord of the Rings, which is just perfection, right? It's the ultimate battle scene. We jump right into it in this kind of en medias res idea, and it's really beautifully done. But the battle itself, the kind of, boards, characters on the chessboard, if you will, of the battle, and the kind of blocking out of the characters in this battle is so well done. And there's such a drama and a variety to it. So we have the soldiers arriving on the ships, and then there's different kind of like sections to the battle where you have Vi, and someone remind me of the gentleman's name, who was like shooting that device. He was a friend of Vi's, and he ends up getting shot with an arrow and passing away, sadly. He's up there on the guns, trying to shoot the enemy as they come in. It's just like such a well blocked out scene. The shot selection is clean. The storyboarding is clean. So you understand the sense of space. Very difficult to do on this scale of a battle. It's something we take for granted when we watch media like this. There's so many moving players in this fight. You know what I mean? There's so many people on this chessboard, and to make it all make sense is a feat in itself. To make it exceedingly wonderful like this, and beautifully done, and good choreography, and good pacing, good music, it's just insane. And the sound design in a battle, oh man, it's got to be hard to do. And on this scale, and they absolutely nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. The variety of weaponry and enemies and, voice lines being intercut with it to keep the drama going was so well done. The pacing overall. And then there's different kind of blocks to this battle, different sections of it. You have the point where the gas gets thrown in a gambit to go and destroy this kind of like hulking monster that's dragging Victor in this cocoon egg. The green of the smoke, of course, creates a beautiful variety in this kind of like stealth section of the battle. So do you see what I mean? There's different sections. We have, of course, the opening that I mentioned. We have the part where Ambessa has seemingly won, and it's got more of a golden, the sun is out, we've won the day feeling, which then transitions later to Vi and Jinx inside the tower in this kind of darker image when there's the blue light of the Arcane lighting them and everything. And it's just creates such a variety, keeps it visually interesting, paces it well. Again, for the character moments and stuff, you don't want it to get stale and just have the same imagery for such a long scene. I mean, it had to be, considering the episode was almost an hour, I mean, it had to be about a half hour. This battle is a climactic battle. And it's just so well done. And then we have like the duel with Caitlyn and Ambessa. It's so awesome. So well done to have a fight scene like that. And to kind of cap it off with that, there's a different sense of drama with a one-on-one. And I love that culture, Noxus, I think it's called. That culture is all about, sort of warriorhood and proving yourself on the battlefield. So I love that they had the soldiers honor that in a very Greek way, in a very Iliadic way. Have the soldiers like, yeah, we're gonna just let this agreed upon duel happen. We're not gonna cheat and help out our ruler here. But it also must have been kind of complicated because Mel was fighting against her mother, which they're both kind of the rulers of those people. So I thought it was really great. And that Mel took over at the end too was really interesting. Let's talk about Mel's power up. This is incredible, like Super Saiyan Mel. I love what they did with it. And it's interesting because the Black Rose character and the kind of mage behind the Black Rose, which apparently was one person, was super interesting. And I love how they kind of thought they outsmarted her in a way. Like, yeah, anyways, the power is too good. She's going to be tempted by the power. She's going to just be our friend and our ally and destroy her mother. I love that Mel was like, I'm going to kill two birds with one stone. I'm going to stop my mother's, world ending plans, and also stop this nonsense with the Black Rose, because I'm that powerful in the kind of mage point of view. So I thought it was so cool. And again, there's that variety, the scene where we discover this mage and where Mel kind of does battle with them in this red void. So cool. And I love that her mother, Ambessa, even though she's gonna, obviously pass away from her wounds inflicted on her, we have this sort of reconciliation and recognizing that her daughter is the wolf, which I thought was so awesome. So you don't have to be so brash, so violent, so kind of arrogant and greedy in your power hungriness as a wolf. You can also be a little more clever of a wolf, a little more merciful of a wolf, and still be incredibly effective. So I thought that was awesome. Kind of recognizing and showing respect as her mother passes, to recognize her as the wolf. Really, really cool, and pass on that torch. And let's talk about, of course, music as an idea in this. And of course, the alternate. Let's get into this before I forget it. The alternate universe episode was just. It was so wonderfully done. And this, to me, is like peak. I would say this and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth remake, if anyone knows it. Really, really great series, is like, to me, the peak perfect balance of using this kind of like other worlds idea as just a kind of meditation, just to kind of, add function to the story and add drama to the story and meaning to the story, but not make it this kind of like Deus Ex Machina tool that just allows you to do anything, and therefore it's hard to have meaning in it. Like some other stuff you kind of we'll see overuse it. I think it's a perfect balance. Like, this episode was just so meaningfully told, and there was actually a great cost to them going in. There wasn't a good thing. It wasn't like, oh, we went to this universe and just like gathered a bunch of allies, came back and kicked butt. It's like, no, we lost Heimerdinger in this other universe. We had a horrible, tragic kind of love story in a way with Echo and Powder, which was just so well done. I mean, we have to talk about the dance scene. Arcane has always just, like I said it in my last review of the second batch, right? It's like, in a very postmodern way, montages and those things tend to sometimes not be used as much nowadays, or as sort of proudly with your chest out. We're going to use a montage. We're going to have a music video here. And Arcane just not only does that, but makes it feel like you've never seen one before. They're so well edited. They're so wonderfully done, like a tool you've never seen before in a way. And this dance scene with Echo and Powder is just so charming and so ethereal and so tragic at the same time. It's like, wait, oh no, they're together. And I like how he kind of like retroactively realizes that they're a couple in this universe. Like when they kiss, it's like, oh, can we pretend it's the first time? It's like, oh no, she was kissing him like it's just a normal thing. It's so tragic and kind of bittersweet. And then, of course, like I said, that shot selection of the emptiness of the frame being emphasized to evoke the feelings that they're experiencing. It's just really, really well done stuff. Absolutely all around. So well done. The Heimerdinger kind of getting his retirement, if you will, being thousands of years old, getting to learn to play the banjo, and then helping his very, very young friend compared to him, right? Very, very young friend, was so beautiful. Well done. And I do like that there's a tiniest bit of open-endedness with Jinx. It's like, we technically didn't see a body or a non-body, So I like that it's open-ended. I think it's very meaningful if she did not survive in that way, but at the same time, to have it a little bit of a question, I think is cool. And let's talk about this. We kind of have to. There's going to be more League of Legends shows. They're riding an airship to somewhere, maybe another place on the planet is Runeterra, right? Another place where other champions could be. And are we going to have Vi and Caitlyn and possibly Jinx and whoever else like show up in this other shows? I was like, that could be fun. I have no idea how this world works beyond watching my cinematic breakdowns on YouTube. So keep that in mind. But I think it could be pretty interesting to consider. All right, so let me know what you guys think. I'm not that deep into League of Legends. I have covered a lot of the cinematics, I think most of them on this channel, and broken them down shot for shot. I love doing it, but I'm not a lore master. So lore masters, let me know if that's a possibility. And what show would you think is next in this series of characters? It's like 100 characters or something, right? In League. This was only a choice few, but anyways, I can't imagine they could top this show. It's fantastically done. To think of it as a whole piece, as a whole project, it's just from start to finish. Is and I said this again in my last review, kind of watching it with the art in mind. A lot of the time, it's like I almost look, it's like, is any scene kind of just like lazy and rushed? No, nothing. It's just all so well done and so well storyboarded, and such an explosion of passionate artists. And I think that's really what this show is. It's like a testament to what happens when artists have a lot of funding. I don't know how much freedom they have exactly, but from the design choices, I would assume they have a decent amount. Bold choices. But yeah, when artists have the freedom, whether that means funds or creative freedom, to tell a story, there's beautiful, beautiful things can happen. And I think one of the greatest animated works can happen, just period. It's, especially seeing the ending now, we can say definitively, it's just that powerful. It's just that well done. And it's something that, I mean, I would go back and watch, and I have several times already, watch scenes. I really want to see that scene, like where Isha sacrifices herself. I really want to see that scene where we remember Vander and Vi's mother and everything. It's just really, really meaningful stuff. And I think because the themes are so beautifully interwoven through every single episode from start to finish, like, of family, of sisterhood, of forgiveness, of shame, and what that can do to you, and the guilt holding on to it and stuff. It's just like I said, this almost like tennis match back and forth of, okay, forgiveness, shame, holding on to guilt with the Jinx and Vi, and back and forth. And just what a poetic send off, what a great way to end it. But to talk about, just other large scale concepts, music is one of the biggest standouts. Like I said, the editing in the show, the music, the imagery, it's just such a beautiful balance of vibrant colors, but not overly vibrant, not kind of like blinding colors, and knowing when to use color fully, if that makes sense, for great effect. Like I said, the variety of the final battle and the great pacing of the scenes, and it's just a smorgasbord of imagery. Like the fact that there's still one standout shot, I would say. I mean, some of the stuff in the final episode with Victor, kind of cosmic Victor, it's beautiful. It's beautiful just to see these shots as standalone paintings, and the fact that you could pause the frame, or pause it on any frame for the most part, and be like, yeah, that's a wonderful painting. Who did this? It's insane. It's a feat of art. I think it far surpasses anything of its kind of what's the word, contemporaries. Like I said, Spider-Man's great, the animated Spider-Man films, but I think this completely is leagues beyond that in any way. It's just so gorgeous to look at, and the sort of like the through line of artistic vision is just so consistent throughout it. The imagery, the texture of the painting, the richness of the characters through the entire show. I see so little, and like I said, the kind of only thing that seemed almost like, oh, we could have had more story on this was the Black Rose, but then it turned out that was just one mage, as far as I know. Again, lore masters fill me in, and it ended up being this really cool kind of like final decision for Mel to power up and kind of take control of her fate. So I thought that was great. Yeah, the whole ending, fantastic. Caitlin kind of losing her eye in this final duel, and just so many awesome moments throughout. But I really like the final fight with Vi, Powder, and of course whatever's left of Vander. I thought that was really cool, kind of like flying up the hex gate, and then on top of that, of course, you have Jace and Victor with their kind of reconciliation and choice, and then with Echo using his device to kind of crack the visage of this all-knowing self to reveal the human of Victor inside. Such a great idea, and to kind of appeal to that humanity and that friendship to do what's right. What a cool idea. And we got to talk about, there's just so much to talk about. I could do a 90-minute video on this, but the episode of the alternate universe, which I talked about, I left out Jace. Those sequences, man, and it's almost comical when they're like, I think it was Powder and Echo dancing, and it just cuts to Jace like in absolute misery, literally lost in the back rooms, just absolute misery, like eating lizards and stuff. I was like, wow. What a contrast. And it's just a beautifully crafted episode. On the one end, it's the absence of humanity. It's my decisions led to the end of humanity, and I'm just suffering and falling down pits and breaking my leg and everything. It's that against pure humanity. Echo goes to this place where, this is if we didn't discover that horrible thing, so it's just so interesting. And to see the contrast. And again, talk about color. Oh, that episode was absolutely glorious. And kind of all the stuff with the final evolution of that kind of end game hex tech stuff was just so visually appealing. That kind of like, twisted hexagon type imagery and everything was just fantastic. But I could talk about it all day, guys. The symbolism, the imagery, the writing, and let's talk about dialogue. The dialogue's fantastic in this show. So good. And really just a masterclass on how to evoke emotion, make it seem real, but still have it feel kind of like lofty and symbolic. It's a really fine balance between that. That's not heavy-handed, and I love it. Absolutely love it. But I think that's it. That's my final thoughts for now. If you want, maybe we can talk more about on stream live, or of course hop in the Discord if you want to talk about the show with my community. But nothing but good things to say about it, guys. I will miss this show. That is kind of my final thought. I will definitely be going back and watching some of this. It's incredibly inspiring. Shout out to Christian and the whole team who worked so hard on this, and all the performance. That's a whole other conversation. The performances were fantastic. Again, could do a whole video on it. It's just so much. Obviously, Jinx and Vi really, really standing out in that. But also, big shout out to Mel, Jace, Echo. Just meaningful performances. And again, striking that balance between like lofty but really raw and kind of like in the dirt, believability in the middle of a battle. So it was fantastic. I had so much fun watching it with Leah. And but yes, you guys are the best. Have a wonderful day, and subscribe here on YouTube if you want to look at more of my art analysis and cinematic breakdowns. Because the copyright, I can't break down the show how I do my other videos, but on the channel we do shot for shot breakdowns of art and game cinematics. So have a lovely day. Hope to see you again if you're new, and make sure to check out my couples channel I do with my girlfriend Aaliyah, or my fiance. That is what one might call the final evolution. Have a good day, guys. Thank you so much.